All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tackling a huge and really fascinating question from the brilliant author Amitav Ghosh. And it's this: why is our most powerful art form, literary fiction, so weirdly silent about the biggest crisis of our time, climate change?
I mean, think about it. It's a real mystery, isn't it? We see climate change everywhere in the news, in science, it's affecting our lives. But then you go and pick up a serious contemporary novel, and more often than not, it's just not there. And for Ghosh, this silence isn't just strange, it's deeply, deeply troubling.
He actually gave this whole phenomenon a name in his incredible nonfiction book, The Great Derangement. And that's where he really gets into it, diagnosing this bizarre silence in our art and our culture. You see, Ghosh isn't just making a casual observation here. He's basically lodging a formal complaint. He's arguing that the modern novel, with all of its power to explore what it means to be human, seems completely unequipped to tell the most important story on the planet right now. And that really matters, because if our best storytellers can't even make sense of this crisis, how are the rest of us supposed to?
You can just feel the urgency in his words, can't you? For him, this isn't some abstract academic debate. It's a massive failure of art to witness and respond to a very clear and very present danger. Which, of course, begs the question, why? Why is this happening?
Okay, so what's really fascinating is Ghosh's diagnosis. He doesn't just blame authors for, not trying hard enough. No, he argues the problem is baked right into the very DNA of the modern novel itself, putting it completely at odds with the nature of climate change. So this right here is the core of the conflict. The modern novel, for the most part, is built on a foundation of realism. It deals with the probable, the everyday, the believable. But climate change? It often throws a reality at us that feels deeply improbable. We're talking freak storms that defy prediction, animals migrating in bizarre ways, whole landscapes changing overnight. It's a reality so strange, it can feel unreal, and that's what Ghosh calls the uncanny.
You know that feeling? The uncanny? It's that deeply unsettling vibe you get when something totally familiar suddenly becomes, well, strange. It's the creepy doll that looks a little too human, or the house that just feels off. Ghosh's big idea is that climate change is our familiar world becoming uncanny, and our realistic novels just don't have the tools to talk about it.
So to write about this uncanny reality, Ghosh leans right into it in his own fiction. In his novel Gun Island, he just fills the pages with events that would break a traditional realist novel. A daughter who speaks to her mother after she has died. The actual ghost of a legend showing up in the middle of a cyclone. Spiders and snakes moving in ways that have never been seen before. He's deliberately breaking the rules of the modern novel to try and create a new language for a new reality. And this is the crucial part. After diagnosing this whole problem in The Great Derangement, Ghosh didn't just leave it at that. He went and wrote the novel Gun Island as his creative answer to the very challenge he just laid out. So what's his strategy? Well, Ghosh argues that to make any sense of our strange present, we actually need to dig deep into our past. He rediscovers these incredible pre-modern stories and myths, narratives that were never tied down by the rules of realism. And then he uses their logic to explain the totally uncanny events of today. Specifically, in this novel, he turns to the legend of Mansa Devi, the snake goddess, and the gun merchant. This ancient story from the Sundarbans becomes the lens, the key, that allows the novel's modern characters to finally start understanding the chaotic, interconnected, and frankly, unbelievable world they're suddenly living in. And this connection to the crisis goes way deeper than just the plot. It's literally woven into the fabric of the novel, right down to the words themselves. The actual language of Gun Island is just saturated with the crisis. Words like floods, cyclones, wildfires, and fossil fuels pop up constantly, creating this relentless drumbeat in the background. It shows that the climate emergency isn't just some single event in the story. It's the very atmosphere that the characters are breathing. So this all leads to the final and really crucial piece of Ghosh's argument, because for him, this isn't just about how we write novels. It's about how we rethink our history, our politics, and ultimately where we can possibly find some hope for real-world action. He argues that our whole view of history is flawed because colonialism and this idea of development actively wiped out indigenous knowledge about how to live with nature, not just on it. And our politics? Well, that's incomplete too, if we only blame capitalism, without also seeing how imperialism and nationalism have been huge drivers of environmental destruction. This leaves us with a pretty profound question. If our modern frameworks, our novels, our history, our political systems are all part of this great derangement, then where on earth do we look for a way out? His answer is both surprising and really powerful.
He suggests we turn to the world's great mass organizations, specifically religious ones. And why? Well, think about it. They operate beyond national borders. They think in terms of centuries, not just 4-year election cycles. They aren't limited by purely economic logic. And maybe, most importantly, they have this unique ability to mobilize massive numbers of people towards a shared moral goal. And that leaves us with this final, provocative thought. Ghosh's work suggests that to solve our most modern crisis, we might actually need to rediscover our most ancient ways of thinking, through myths that can embrace the uncanny, and through collective beliefs that can inspire action on a truly planetary scale. It's a revolution in storytelling, and maybe, just maybe, a blueprint for survival.